This is the closest I've managed to get to being able to record outside or in a park because right now the weather is just too intense for me to handle. Yesterday I went grocery shopping because I had to, I was running out of stuff, and it nearly killed me. Even though I went earlier in the morning when it was warmer or cooler, yeah, I had to take like multiple breaks when coming home, even though normally I take one, or if things are going really well, zero. So it just goes to show that, first of all, my body cannot handle heat very well. And second of all, I'm just really weak at this point. But that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is not me having crazy tree hair. Speaking of which, quick side story. My grandmother had this picture of my dad growing up. Not him growing up, when I was growing up. And back when I was young, I forget exactly how old I was, but young enough to not really pay much attention to pictures of your family because you're like, I know them, I see them every day, who cares? But she had this one picture, and it was of my dad just standing there, and in the background there was a plant hanging from the ceiling, and the plant was right behind my dad's head, so it kind of gave this illusion that he had an afro. So I just noticed the picture simply because I'm like, wait, my dad used to have hair? Huh, I've always known him bald. Okay, that's kind of cool. But I didn't really pay that much attention or look at the picture that closely until one day I did, and I realized, wait, that's not an afro, that's a plant. And I just found it hilarious, and kind of seeing myself kind of like this with crazier tree hair just reminded me of that. So I thought I would share that. But that's not the point of this video. The theme of this video, the subject, is I seem to be able to eat again. Sort of. And I don't even throw up. Sort of. And the reason I add sort of at the end of both of those statements is because, as you may expect, it's not exactly something that is consistent enough for me to be confident making a statement like, things are back to normal, I can eat properly again. It's more like, well, for now, my body seems able to tolerate more, let's see what happens. So, for the last couple weeks, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks, the only thing my body's been able to handle is a small breakfast, followed by a small to medium lunch, and if I'm lucky, and that is very rare, a small snack in the early afternoon. Anything I would eat beyond that, my body would just reject and I'd end up throwing up, and all that hard work forcing myself to eat food that I wasn't hungry for would just be completely wasted. And because I threw everything up, my body barely had time to assimilate any of the energy from that, and it would just end up losing or causing me to lose more weight. So, definitely not something good. Plus, throwing up is never pleasant, so I always try to avoid it as much as I can. So, that's been my life for the last month or so. It's only about 4 days ago that I noticed, hey, it's strange. I seem to be able to eat a little more. My body seems to be able to handle more. Let's try something. Let's try having dinner just to see what happens. Maybe I'll throw up. Whatever. I've thrown up so many times at this point. I'm used to it. Not that I enjoy it, but it's not really a big deal. You know, if you haven't been through something like this or have never been through throwing up a lot, you probably understand what I mean by, oh, I tried to do everything I can to avoid throwing up because it's not pleasant. If you throw up enough, strangely, you get used to it. It's crazy what you'll get used to. Yes, you even get used to throwing up. I still haven't gotten to the point where it's enjoyable, but it's no longer a big deal. It's just like, oh, okay, it's coming. Let's go do it. Let's get it over with. Moving on. Cool. So anyway, the goal was like, all right, let's try eating dinner to see what happens. So 3 days ago, that's what I did. Had normal breakfast, normal lunch, and then I had a dinner. And lo and behold, I did not throw up. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's new. That's kind of cool. Appetite is still not there. I still have to force myself to eat anything that I eat. But at least I'm not throwing up. At least I'm able to eat more. So if I can start doing this consistently, well, I don't think I'm eating enough to be able to start gaining weight, but I can at least avoid losing more weight, or at least losing it as rapidly as I have been lately. So next day, do the same thing. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Ooh, I didn't throw up again. I'm like, all right, this seems to be developing into a pattern, but let's not, what's the expression? Let's not counter eggs before they hatch or something like that. I forget exactly what the expression is, but I'm like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's do at least 3 days before I share the news. So yesterday was the third day, so same thing once again. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I don't throw up. At least until I go to bed, and then I have breathing issues, and I start coughing, and I continue coughing, and I continue coughing, and I continue coughing, until eventually it gets too much, and that oh so familiar feeling of, oh crap, I'm gonna throw up comes up, and I have to run to the bathroom. And yes, I did throw up. However, it was not because I ate more. It was simply because of the coughing. Unfortunately, that is one of the side effects of really intense coughing. Sometimes it makes me throw up. So, speaking of coughing, hopefully I won't say speaking of throwing up. That would definitely suck. No, so where was I? So yeah, even though I did throw up, I still don't think it means anything bad. It's just, all right, I coughed too much, ended up throwing up, but it's not because I ate too much. It's simply because I coughed too much. So it seems like for some reason, I do not know why, my body is able to handle more food. So yeah, no idea why this is happening. Maybe it's just whatever was causing it, the effect slowly started wearing off and my body kind of got used to it. So assuming it's a decadron and the withdrawal from that's been causing this. Well, now that I've been at the same level for a while, my body's getting used to it. So whatever substance was provided by the decadron that my body would naturally produce, my body now started producing it a bit because we're at a lower level than we used to be. So it's getting used to that once again, producing it once again, and that's kind of allowed things to go back slightly to normal. Not 100% back to normal, but at least in the more normal range. So that's definitely good news. The bad news is, as a result of what I was sharing and what happened yesterday, the breathing issues that led to coughing, that led to throwing up, that means that I'm probably going to have to start sleeping in a half-seated position once again, which is not necessarily pleasant, not something that I'm looking forward to, but for the last 3, 4 days, I've also had more breathing issues, not sure why, and the coughing has been a little more intense. So, yeah, it just seems like for now, it's kind of a good news, bad news situation, like it always is, Something gets better, something gets worse. Something gets better, something gets worse. So the better is I'm able to eat more, my body's able to handle more food, I'm not throwing up very often, but I'm having more breathing issues, but I'm coughing more, but now I have to start sleeping half seated again. You know, but it's life. And I seem to be saying but a lot, which is ironic because today's video isn't even about the anal cancer slash hemorrhoids slash whatever that is. But Now every time I'm gonna say but, I'm gonna be like, yep, okay, I said but again. I guess that makes me the butt of my own joke. All right, made a joke. I think we can end this video here. We can move on. So yeah, overall conclusion of this is good news, bad news. Can eat more. Slight breathing issue. Well, not slight. Slightly worse breathing. Slightly worse coughing. So everything pretty much is exactly the same it was before, just different. Differently good and differently bad. That's pretty much my life at the moment. So that's been my video for the day. That's been my hair for the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.